Today I want to talk about how I got over my alcohol addiction. Well, I wasn't really an alcoholic, but I was drinking pretty much, as well as smoking, both weed and cigarettes. So, just wanted to walk you through the history of my relationship with this sort of drugs. Basically, I'm from Slovakia, and when you have like 11 or 12 years old, your family gives you a drink just to start you off. So I had my first beer, I think I was like 11, and look at this shopping cart in the middle of park. What's going on? Now, as you approach your 13th, 14th birthday, that's like your last year in the elementary. You start to drink much and hard liquor, as I mentioned. So what's going on? You're gonna have your first really drunk experience, which is never pleasant. This means you're gonna vomit, you're gonna have a blackout or something like that. I clearly remember mine as it was yesterday. I was 14. We're drinking with friends, and we drank many types of alcohol. Basically, I blacked out, and for 7 hours I couldn't get up from the floor, and I was just vomiting. And it was probably the worst experience of my life by that point. I mean, besides some hospital visits or something. So, pretty crazy stuff. But we bragged about it at school. We bragged about, like, yeah, I just did that. Crazy stuff. So you kind of have this attitude of like, you're the man. If you start drinking, you are finally, a man. And so that kind of goes with your life. In high school, everybody tends to drink. I wasn't an exception. I was actually very active in this endeavor. I was drinking a lot. And it just creates these situations that you don't want, because most people will know you for your drunken self. So when you're drunk, you're not yourself usually. You have a different persona, different attitude, different things you do. So to have friends outside of being drunk or outside of hanging out, in pubs, you really don't know who you are. So you have a few friends who you hang out in school or somewhere who you can talk to even if you're not drunk or intoxicated. But generally speaking, if you're outside, you're like 30 people, everybody's drunk, you feel great because you're like, this is where I belong. But as soon as you stop drinking, you don't have anything in common with a lot of people, actually. You find out. So the only thing that bonded you was alcohol. So naturally you started also smoking cigarettes, and you think, hey, I'm not addicted, So yeah, I started at 16, maybe just smoking one cigarette maybe a week. And then it kind of grew. My mother never knew about this. Then she kind of figured it out. But I never was like a chain smoker. I just had maybe like 5 cigarettes a day, tops. But when I was drinking, I would buy a pack and I would smoke it like 20 cigarettes. And this was horrible because the next day I felt like my lungs collapsing. Plus your hangover. So the worst thing about getting drunk is you will have a hangover, which is a period of time where your body has to recover. Terrible headaches, in your throat, you don't feel anything. You have to drink a lot of water, and you kind of remember all the bad things you did yesterday, and it's never pleasant. I harassed so many people, I got into fights, I got home at 5 a.m. I don't remember like 3-4 hours from my night, my friend, many things happened, problems with police, problems with different people, and then you get into these crazy relationships where you find out that you hooked up with somebody the night before, or you find out that look at this crazy view. I'm on top of the hill, and this is Prague below me, so I'm gonna show it to you. But you find out this crazy stuff, and this was never pleasant to really find out like who I hang out with and to see the pictures. And just like oh my god, I feel disgusted. And that was my life for high school. That was like, at school I would be nice, but like as soon as I would drink, I would turn into kind of a monster. And then university, similar stuff, but you add a mix of weed to it, it gets even worse. And so by the time you end university, you're kind of hooked on alcohol, weed, or smoking cigarettes. And you basically need to do that as an adult now. So you go into the workforce and you start drinking with your team, with your colleagues. These are team buildings, Everybody gets drunk. You're a CEO. Everybody here drinks alcohol. If you don't, it's actually considered rude, or you're not part of this culture. Whether Czech or Slovak, it's the same. So I'm like, man, I remember going from work, maybe always grabbing like 7-8 beers, which is not healthy. And when people tell you like, oh, you just need one, you can control yourself. Just have one beer or one glass of wine. Who does that? My mom, maybe when she's 55, laying in her bed, maybe she has one glass of wine. But even she drinks the entire bottle sometimes. So I know how this works. And you never stick to one beer, you never stick to one wine. You always go overboard. I would always tend to drink much more than I should have. And then this vicious cycle of hangovers. So like, imagine all the weekend is lost. For 10 years I didn't have weekends, because all of them I was lying in the bed and just hoping that the pain would leave me and I could start living on Monday. So my all the weekends were lost, not effective. And basically alcohol is a depressant, so it lowers your mood after you've been drunk. So you have very depressed thoughts when you, not when you're drunk, but maybe even when you're drunk, but mostly outside of that, when you're hungover. You don't feel well, and you just feel like a piece of trash, to be honest, which you are if you're doing this. And so this was what I was doing, and it doesn't matter if you drink wine, beer, or something hard. It's always the same feeling. There are some worse hangovers, but generally speaking, it's the same. So very unhealthy, very bad. Plus you get fat from alcohol usually. And as I said, a lot of bad things. There's not many positives. The only positive is the social environment. You create this bubble and you have great time when you're drunk. You dance on tables, you do all this crazy stuff, but then you stop controlling yourself and a monster comes out. For a woman and for a man. For a woman it's even worse, because they become sort of slutty. Very easy to do anything to them. And for men they become like aggressive usually, or they sleep or whatever. Neither one of them is good. Prague behind me. You can't really see it all, but there's a castle right there. Let me check it out. It looks nice. And so that's Prague. Come here. You're now an adult. Let's say you're 25, but you're still behaving as like you're in high school. So you're still drinking, smoking, all this stuff. And now you're hooked. Now you can't quit smoking. You can't quit weed. It calms your anxiety from being at work. Or you can't quit alcohol, because that's how you socialize. All the colleagues drink, all team buildings. Every day after work people go to drink. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna look like a stranger if you don't do it. And after some time you get used to drinking alone, or drinking just with your wife or with your girlfriend, which I was doing. Me and my girlfriend, we would, let's say, buy a bottle of wine, drink it every day. Crazy. Like, why are we doing it? We got hooked on this habit. Then we bought like 5 beers and we would drink it. And we would regret it the next day, or do anything else outside of this. And besides just doing it with whatever, random people. And I was like, man, this is not really good for, like, we're not building good habits. And I'm trying to become better. I was trying to become an entrepreneur then, which I still am. But this was like 3, 4, 5 years ago, when I had literally nothing and I was broke. And I'm trying to do this, but I'm also having these crazy habits which are preventing me from achieving my goals, because I'm always drunk or I'm always hungover. So I can't really focus on my business, because you have to be sharp to be in business. So that's your life. And I'll tell you, 99% of people don't change. 99% of people stay like this. They grow old, they get a wedding, and they start drinking, and they raise their kids with the knowledge that drinking is cool, because they were raised like that. That's how people live here. So if you want to separate from that matrix, and you know it's making you feel crazy bad, you know it deep inside, you never feel good when you're drunk. Like, you never feel like, yeah, I achieved something. It's always like, man, why did I do that? Why did I do that? It was like, you feel embarrassed many times. You look like a homeless person after you've been drunk, right? It's promoted everywhere, but just look at it logically. What benefit does it give you. You know you have a problem, you've acknowledged it. It's not like you're watching this video because you don't know you have a problem. I'm not saying you're an alcoholic, but it is you have to realize that in many countries this behavior is not normal. This is normal maybe in Europe or the US, Australia, and big drinking cultures, Russia. But like, let's say in the Middle East, people don't drink and they have a good time with family. They have a better, stronger relationship with their family and they don't drink at all. How is that possible? And so basically I was always in and out, trying to quit, couldn't quit, trying to quit, couldn't quit. Then I kind of lost a lot of weight, and I also started to eat healthy, but I was also drinking and I couldn't lose this habit or smoking. It was so quick. I couldn't figure it out. It was really frustrating. Like, I want to quit. How do I do this? And you see, it's like years of built-in habits, and now you're struggling. You're 25, you're 30, and you just want to get loose of it. You can't. So you need help. What was I doing? So this may sound too extreme, but check it out. I basically started to get more spiritual. So I would be looking up things about meaning of life, trying to figure out, like, okay, meditation, there's you can do some psychedelics, you can do many things to realize there's something more than this material world. And so I would look into that maybe 2 years ago, just dabbling in, and I would come across like many videos, but amongst them a lot of like videos about Islam, which sounds crazy to me at that point. I remember watching a video about why is music not allowed in Islam. It was just like interesting, like, what? Strange stuff. But I would listen to it. I would like, yeah, it makes sense, but I'm not a Muslim. This doesn't affect me. But I would be like, yeah, it makes sense because I listen to a lot of hip hop music. I'm on Spotify all day, and I feel not great about it. And so, yeah, I would watch some of these videos and stuff, and then slowly but surely, through different people like Mike Tyson or Khabib Nurmagomedov, the MMA fighter, I would really get interested in actually Islam or a Muslim way of life, because I would watch documentaries. Come on, man, be quiet. There's a guy shouting. But so I would be researching, and then I would be like studying. So I would be like, okay, what is the concept of God in Islam? What does Islam say about what's gonna happen when you die? What does Islam really, like, what is Islam? And I would watch so many lectures. I would be like a scholar of beginning level of Islam. Like, what is Islam? Who are Muslims? What do they believe? What are 5 pillars? What is Ramadan? Why they don't eat pig? All these crazy stuff. Then I would come across weird issues like why Muslims can have 4 wives. Like, what? Or music. Why is it not allowed? Or things that you don't understand in the West. And then I would do a ton of research to really figure it out. I would watch ex-Muslim videos, Muslim videos, and just trying to find out my mind, whatever. So I would be studying this for, let's say, a couple of months, maybe 5-6 months. And then I would go and jog in this park. And so it was about April 2020. And I was jogging. I had a lap here. I always do laps here. Now I have a new track, but I was kind of going through here, and on this road I remember I was thinking about Jannah, I was thinking about Allah, I was thinking about all these things in Islam that I just heard the Sheikh Mohammed Hoblos talk about, and I was really like, it was really getting into me. It was really like deep. It was really unsettling. Always questioning, what's the purpose of your life? What's the purpose of your existence? What's gonna happen when you die? And all these things. And I remember it hit me right here. I was right there, and everything came together. Everything came together. It was an amazing experience. It was the first time I've ever felt something like that. It was as though I understood now. So everything made sense to me. A bug on floor, not floor, earth, ground. A dog, anything. Everything suddenly made sense to me. And that was the time that my fitra got awakened. And a lot of Muslim reverts or converts have the same type of story. They have the same type of feeling when suddenly, after years of research or whatever, they felt fitra, they felt the innate predisposition to believe in God fully manifested in their life. And so it's like a wake-up call, and I was like, man, this is crazy. What am I gonna do now? I have to become a Muslim. It took me one more year to get from the awakening I had, the fitra awakened, to actually formally submitting and accepting Islam and doing my shahada. And yeah, it's been a crazy ride, and it happened here during the COVID lockdown when I was jogging, so thanks COVID. And so basically my last drink was on the 2nd of January 2021, and I wasn't a Muslim then, but I said I'm gonna stop drinking because I don't want to. I'm gonna stop smoking because I don't want to. I'm gonna stop smoking weed, and I'm gonna start practicing Islam. I'm gonna try it out. So I'm gonna pray 5 times a day, and I'm gonna rely on Allah that He will guide me away from this problem. And so basically that's what I did. I cut out from one day I was drunk, the next day I didn't drink, I didn't smoke, I didn't do anything. And it's been, since then, this is August 10th, so it's been 8 months. Mashallah, 7 or 8 months. I haven't smoked, I haven't drunk, I haven't drank anything, and I didn't smoke weed or anything like that. Just by practicing 5 times a day prayer. And then after 2 months, obviously, I became a Muslim. I did my shahada, and I became a real OG, real Muslim who lives here in this non-Muslim country. But anyways, you can watch some of my Muslim videos below. But this is a story about the other thing. And so if you are someone like this, the message is you have to look within. You have to look outside of yourself, because you can't really help yourself. So whether that's therapy, whether that's religion or whatever, spirituality, that's the answer. So go for that. And in my case, it was Islam. And I'm telling you, if you really want to solve this problem, look into Islam, start studying it, and then start practicing it, and you'll see the difference, like from one day to another. And you'll be like, whoa, I should have done this quite a long time ago, because it's the best way of life, actually. It's the most simplest way of life you can have, and it's the best way of life. So mashallah. But anyways, this is my story. So if you are struggling with these things, then yeah, have a look at Islam. And Islam is there to restrict your desires for a greater good. The good is clear, but you just have to understand the limits of your freedom in Islam. So mashallah, if you are interested, check it out. And start with the concept of Tawheed. Who is Allah? What does He want? What's the purpose of your life? What happened before you were born, and what's going to happen after you die? Those are really important questions that you need to answer, because if you don't, you'll have this terrible depression throughout your life. You won't know what's going to happen, you won't know your purpose, you'll be just kind of like lost soul here. You won't have a direction, a goal in mind. Irregardless of your career or your family, you still need to answer these things. I forgot to mention that my girlfriend then, now my wife, also stopped smoking, stopped drinking, and stopped smoking weed. So hey, you can have an effect on other people, and improve your surrounding as well. So go for it, definitely.